Alright guys, I am making a Apex Legends Season 12 Legend tier list. These are just my personal opinions. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna be ranking them based on how good they are for me. Let's start beginning with Ash. I'm gonna put her at a solid B tier. Her tether is really good, especially on Storm Point with the gravity cannons. If you tether someone, they go on a gravity cannon, they'll just get pulled right back. They can't do anything about it. It's really good. Her tether is just like good. Her ultimate's good for escaping a fight and pushing a fight, but I think Race Portal is much better for that since you can like go back. Um Her passive is really good for finding people, so that's also good in the Storm Point. Um, but yeah, on the next, Bangalore. She used to be an A tier, but even without any changes, the way the game's going, I think she's in B tier since Legends have gone much better. She's kind of been left in the dust. Um, she is pretty good, but there's just too many scanning legends now, and her smoke is practically useless. Especially with Maggie here to like a big counter to her smoke. I have hot chocolate here. Um, Bloodhound. I'm gonna put them in A tier. The passive is really good for tracking down where people are. Not as good as Ash's passive, but gets the job done. Um, his tactical is definitely one of the best scanning tacticals in the game. Better than Seer's, better than arguably better than cryptos in certain situations. Um, and their ultimate is is it's okay. It's not that good, but it's okay, especially against Bangalore or like a Caustic or something. Speaking of Caustic, I'm gonna put Caustic at B tier. His gas, even though it doesn't do as much damage, at least as much as it used to, it really isn't about damage. And it gets the job done. Slows down enemies, disorients them, makes them panic, I guess. Um, and that's really it about it, because like his whole kit is basically his gas. Now, crypto. I I'm actually going to put him at A tier with new season 12 buff, which allows him to just throw his drone because that is really powerful. Combined with his ult, because before it was just like he has to send drone teammates push and use the ult. Now you can actually push while using your ult at the same time with your team. That is really good. Also, just for recon, he is really powerful for recon. 200 meter, uh, like just like free roam drone, pretty good. Fuse, I'm gonna put him at A tier. Really good at holding like tight spaces. Really good at holding tight like indoor spaces. Um, and I mean, I guess that's really all I can say. He's really good indoor spaces and even outdoor. If there's like cover, you can just knuckle cluster the cover. It's really powerful. Um, Jibby straight up S tier. Dome shield just really OP, like just like a giant dome. Um, Blocks all damage. If you're good at dome fights, you will destroy everyone you're fighting against if you're good at bubble fights. Also, it's the ultimate, really good if it's like outdoor engagement or just getting people indoors. It's really good for that. And fortified plus the arm shields. It's nuts. Horizon. I'm gonna put her A tier. For the longest time, I thought she was more like C tier, but I think that was just because I haven't gotten used to the fact that she got nerfed. I think it was like season 9, if I'm correct. She got nerfed. But now I realize she's still. Now that I like have gotten time to like get used to her now, she's still a very, very good legend. Lifeline. Okay, so she's a really, really good medic. I mean, the only medic, so I'm gonna hope she's really good. The only thing that's holding her back is her ultimate and kind of her passive. I think she needs her shield back on her passive. Even though that was OP, if you're doing it in the open, they can always just shoot him again and downed immediately. So you still need to be precise with your placement. You just now it's just you can only revive your teammate in places where you would just normally revive your teammate, which doesn't give much of a meaning to her passive, and her ultimate's just bad. Even though it can give gold stuff, it's pretty bad. Loba, I'm gonna put her right next to Lifeline and B tier. Just because her passive really isn't that good. It's really selfish. In her tactical, it's just, I mean, it's alright, I guess, but there's a bunch of different abilities in Apex right now that get the job done way better. But it is good. It is really good in some situations. And her ultimate, people like to say, everyone hates Loba mains until they need ammo. And I mean, first of all, nobody really hates Loba mains except for me. It's only some of them. Some of them are just yeah. I'm not gonna get into it, but the ultimate, it just like sometimes just like two things just doesn't feel right, and like it's the way Apex loot system is. When you place it down like a full area, sometimes there's just nothing good in that area. There's nothing good. So it really depends on luck whether you'll actually get something good from where you're going. So I mean, yeah, you do have to place it in the right area, but even when you place it in the right area, sometimes it's not useful at all. Mirage. People are gonna be mad, but I'm gonna put him at D tier. Because none of the legends are really E or F. None of the legends are that bad. But I'm gonna put Mirage at D tier just because most of the time people won't fall for your decoys. It's usually once you've played Apex long enough, the decoys are it's really easy to tell the real one from the decoys. Like with the ultimate, Mirage himself flickers like in and out of cloak for a little longer than the other decoys, so you can just like tell. Also, just like the way they move is just, you can really tell. And the tactical, it's moving straight line or just like making very really unnatural movements, or just like not shooting at you. It's really easy to tell. And even when I do shoot at a decoy, it really doesn't it really doesn't do much. It shows where they are, but if they I mean, like, it doesn't do much, because if you're throwing a decoy at someone, you already know like their general direction. That's all you really need to know, and there's plenty of other legends that can do that much better. But he is a really fun legend to play, because if you are good at him, I myself am pretty. I'd say I'm pretty good with him. I'd actually like pretend to be a decoy, go behind them, and then I'm just gonna turn around and just like shoot them all. Um, so that's really fun. But even though um, I'm gonna be honest, I do think I'm pretty good with him. Um, Even though I think I'm good with him, I'm I don't think he's that good of a legend. Anyways, Octane. Octane, there's better movement legends out there than Octane. Um, I'm gonna put him at a B tier, just because his passive just doesn't seem fast enough to constitute as like a actual passive, because most of the time you're not going to be using it. It just feels like fixing the tactical a bit, making him not like extremely garbage. Um, jump pad and stim is good. His stim is really underrated in close quarters fights, because then you get the extra speed boost and kind of disorients the enemy a bit, but only in close quarters. And then like his jump pad's really good for ambushing another team. Um, Pathfinder, I'm also gonna put him at B tier because he needs a passive. His grapple, the main part of his kit, is pretty good. His zipline, nowadays there's other ways to get around the map, but the zipline is pretty good for just like quickly getting to another area. Even though there is other things, it's good for the team. I'm gonna put Rampart at B tier. Um, I see many people saying she sucks. She doesn't suck. You just need to be like creative with your playstyle to use her. Be creative with your walls. Um, Even if you watch a gaming merchant, he uses his, Rampart's walls to super glide off of them, and I think that's really cool. Haven't really mastered that art yet, but yeah, it's pretty good. And Sheila, he's pretty good when used correctly. And the passive, I think it's a little too exclusive. I think maybe open it up to other weapons, maybe snipers, not marksman weapons, but just snipers. Revenant, I'm gonna put at A tier. His ability to he's really good at sneaking around an enemy, and if you like to play kind of stealthy sometimes, like me, he's really good for that. And like silencing people's abilities, that's crazy. It's actually crazy. Because then like you can't really do anything. They can't really do much for a short period of time. It's really good on movement legends too, because they can't escape. And it's the ultimate. I mean, need I say anything about that? Um, Seer. I'm going to put him at A tier just because of his passive. His passive is extremely good for. Actually, I'm gonna put him in B tier because his passive isn't like insanely good. It's more the passive working in conjunction with his tactical, and then his ultimate giant dome that scans people. That's also pretty powerful. Falcon, I'm gonna put at A tier. She her passive to fly is really good. for getting the high ground. Not as good for getting the high ground as Horizon, but you also get that. You also have more freedom with it than Horizon's tactical. The pluses are passive, so it charges passively. Her tactical, the missile swarm, that is also pretty powerful in slowing down enemies, getting them stunned, and then like maybe you can like switch angles on them and just like absolutely destroy them because they're slow and all. Watson, I'm gonna put her at B tier. I think she, when used correctly, which I can never do, she is pretty good. She's definitely I think in my opinion the best camping legend in the game. She's the best at camping up a building. The only thing is that isn't really the main point of Apex. Camping isn't the point. You can't just camp the whole game. That really isn't a good idea. But if you are gonna camp up a building, maybe in like a final zone, you get lucky and it goes to you. She is extremely powerful doing that because no grenades can get in there. Nobody can get in there without being electrocuted, and then they know where you are, and then they shoot you because you're slow. Wraith, I'm honestly gonna put Wraith at C tier because her phase, when used correctly, is really powerful. I mean, you can't just like do willy-nilly out there anymore. But her phase is really powerful for getting out of a situation, and paired with a super glide, since she goes like super far with her super glides now. I don't know why she's not the fastest when she's in the void, but she does get the best super glides, which is kind of weird in my opinion. But also her passive is pretty underrated actually, because when you're going up against like a Caustic or something, when you hear traps, that warning could make the difference between life and death in a fight. But in most situations it doesn't really help much. But her portal is really, really good for either escaping or mainly attacking, because you can go in there, deal some damage, go back, and then heal up, and then maybe while you're healing up, if you hear them coming, you can stop healing and just like spray them, and they won't know where you are in first, and so you'll have the advantage and you can kill them. But that's why she's in C tier, because her kit is just not as good as the rest of the legends. Maggie, I'm gonna put at A tier because her ability to like push up a building or to like push people out of cover is really, really, really powerful, especially with her ultimate. If you throw that into a building, or even someone who's behind like small amount of cover and open, if you just throw that in there, it'll detonate and throw them out of cover. Or when they're in a building, just like it will detonate and like disorient them, stun them. You can go in there and get the kill. Especially with the tactical, block off the exit with the tactical. They can still run through, but they'll take some damage, and you can know they're there. Yeah, so it's really, really powerful. And obviously her shotgun passive isn't that good, but her scan passive that scans people when she deals damage to them, it's really powerful, especially compared with especially paired with her tactical, which might be a little hard to see people when the tactical, because it's like all bright and all. But that is it for this tier list. These are all my personal opinions. If you disagree, I really don't know what to say. To each their own, I guess. Um, all I can say right now is nerf Jibby. Anyways, see ya.